I'm your one-star platinum, Mrs. Nina Mitchell. I'm a master travel instructor with Evolution Travel, the travel division under Evolution Enterprises. And today's topic is Hawaii. So let's sell Hawaii. Specifically, we're going to focus on how not to send your clients to the tourist traps. Let's learn about the region. You'll end up finding out that a lot of your clients have a very big misconception about Hawaii. Many people think that Hawaii is just one place when it's actually multiple islands. Many people think that Hawaii is an international destination, which it is not. It's a part of the continental United States. So we want to make sure that the first thing we do is learn about the region ourselves, right? So you want to use Google to locate pertinent information about the region. And keeping in mind that we are focused on Hawaii today, but this information can be used for all of your bookings. So make sure that you're taking notes and take screenshots so that you can use this information immediately, but this is being recorded. Hawaii has a specialist training. And it's important to take a specialist training on any region that you are booking for. One, to become a specialist gives you more knowledge that you can actually give to your clients, because we pride ourselves on giving destination knowledge. So you actually have to have it before you can give it, right? So there is Hawaii Specialist Training, and you can go to agents.gohawaii.com. You can self-register and take the Hawaii Specialist Training. You want to make sure that you understand that each island has a different location, that each location has its own personality and beauty, and you want to educate your clients. So now I want to show you how to utilize Google to get information that you'll need for your clients. Okay, so I'm going to do a Google search to show you guys what I mean. And remember, Google will actually give you what you ask for, so be very specific in what you're asking for. So the first thing you want to do is simply look up Hawaii. Information, points of interest, all of that information can be found easily on Google. People will ask, what's the best time to go to Hawaii? You can actually Google that, and it will tell you right here. The best months to visit OHAU, which is the island that I'm on, are April, the first 3 weeks, May, September, and October for great weather, fewer crowds, and fair rates. Understand that Hawaii is either expensive or very expensive. It's never cheap. The prices are never moderate. It's either expensive or very expensive. Oahu's temperatures range from 26 degrees Celsius to 31 degrees Celsius all year long, with hot summers, June through October, and pleasant winters, mid-December through late March. We are in our winter months right now, and it's really rainy, but the weather is still, it's still nice. But you want to make sure that you plan your clients' vacations around that. If you get a client that is asking to come during a time that you have done research and found out that it's going to be crowded or it's high season, you want to communicate that to them and let them know. Typical questions are asked and can be answered right here. How much does it cost to go to Hawaii for a week? What's the cheapest island to visit in Hawaii? What's the cheapest time to visit in Hawaii? Is Hawaii safe to visit? These are all typical questions that are asked, and Google actually will cover that for us. One of the major things that you will learn by doing the Hawaii Specialist Training is that Hawaii is multiple islands. Again, a very basic and common misconception is that Hawaii is just one place, and it is not. Hawaii has multiple islands that each have its own unique personality. Let me see if I can make one of these a little bigger so you guys can see it. This is particularly an article about OHAU. But I want you guys to actually see all of the islands. Just a moment. And you can always click on images. They do have one with maps, or you can see everything. And again, these are things that you can use for all of your destinations. At any time, if you guys cannot see the screen, because I cannot see the chat box, you can probably send a message to me through Facebook or on my phone instead of unmuting yourself, because we want this to be a clean recording, okay? Now, these are the Hawaiian Islands. Let me make that smaller so you guys can see it. Of course, this over to the right is the United States, or what we call the contiguous United States. That means they are touching. We are right in the middle of the United States and Japan. Our island, specifically Oahu, has a nonstop flight that goes from many nonstop flights, actually, that go from this island to Japan. We also have nonstop flights that go to Guam and to the Marshall Islands. We have quite a few because we are dead smack in the middle of everything. But take your time and go through what you find on Google. Let me come out of Google Maps right quick. Again, remember, your Google search will give you exactly what you ask for. So be as specific as you possibly can. There are 7 main islands of Hawaii. And again, I do not expect for you guys to commit this to memory. The main purpose of this is to show you how to go and find this information for yourself. Now, even though all of the islands are called Hawaii, there is one main island, which is called the Big Island. It is called and named Hawaii. It is the island of Hawaii. So we have the Big Island, the island of Hawaii, Maui, Oahu, Kauai, Molokai, Lanai, Ni'iau, and Kahalawi. Now, only 7, really, 1, 2, 3, 4 are heavily populated, but Molokai, Lanai, and Ni'iau, you actually have to have permission to go. We can cover that a little bit later. The island of Oahu is where Honolulu is. That's the island that I live on, and it is the most populated and happens to be the smallest of all of the Hawaiian islands. When you have time, come back and look through the images so that you can actually physically see the islands and get a visual of what they are. I spoke to you guys about the training, and if you do not remember that website, you can simply ask Google for Hawaii Specialist Training. You can literally ask Google for anything and it will come up for you. And here's the training right here. Okay. This is the training here, agents.gohawaii.com. Okay. So let's get back to the slideshow. Make sure that you educate your clients. We talked about that a little bit. Educate your clients. Let them know when is high season, when the islands can be expected to have the most people on it. We do have spring break on the Hawaiian Islands as well. Many people who are born and raised in Hawaii, they tend to go to college off island, so they come home for spring break. You want to make sure that your clients know what to expect. Be careful of sending them to heavily populated areas like Waikiki. There are other places on the island that you can send them to, and we'll go into a little more detail about that in a moment. Because travel can be so broad, you want to focus on one area. Be sure to qualify your client, asking them the who, what, when, where, how, and how much. Who's traveling? What is it that they want? Do they want air? Do they want a cruise? Do they want a resort? Do they want a vacation home? Ask them the what. Ask them when, specifically, when do you want to travel? Clients who don't have travel dates are not clients that are really serious about traveling. Be careful to not send yourself on a wild goose chase. You can politely communicate to your client, hey, I cannot search without travel dates. So once you've narrowed down your dates, check with your job, check with your spouse, check with your travel partners, or whoever is going with you. Check with them to find out when all of you guys can coordinate your dates. And once you have those dates, please communicate those to me and I'll be more than happy to do a search for you. Do not be overly zealous to secure a client that you jump off of a cliff you cannot recover from. Remember, this is a business. If you treat it like a business, it will actually pay you like one. It is your responsibility to educate your clients. Many of them have not used a travel agent before, so they don't know that you need specific dates. They don't know that you need a budget. You need to ask them how much. Do not be ashamed or afraid or hesitant that you may lose the client simply for asking them, what is your budget? That is important. It is key. Google resorts and activities off the beaten path to maximize your client's experience. Remember, your value comes from you offering personalized service. Some clients may have specific things that they want to do. I do have some clients that go to the same resort in Jamaica every year during the same week every year, and they've been doing it literally for 21 years. The couple has been married for close to 30 years. They do the same thing every year. So I don't offer them anything else. They know exactly what they want, but they are a rarity. When you get clients that are giving you general information, it's because they want you to take the lead and give them some of your professional advice. You don't have to be the one who has experienced it for yourself in order to educate them. That is what you have the internet for. Give as much personal attention as possible to your clients, as well as to your research. Do not work in generalizations. They will give you general information, but it's up to you to take that and expound on it. Do not cut corners or be lazy when researching. This can cost you everything. Most importantly, allow a realistic timetable to conduct your research. Again, don't be overzealous. I know everyone wants to build your business, but you have to build it with a solid foundation. Do not rush yourself through research. Let your clients know you need about 48 to 72 business hours to properly conduct the research and to get back with them with a few different options. Give yourself the time to do the work. And remember, life is still happening while you're running your business. So you want to give yourself a little cushion in case you get sick or your child gets sick, or God forbid you have a car accident and now you have to restructure your life. Remember, life is happening and your client is going to see any reasoning that you give them as an excuse. So allow yourself a little bit of a cushion. So again, I'm going to do a little bit of a demonstration to show you where to find the resorts and the activities before you even go into the vendors. And this is a place that many agents lose the battle in the beginning. They get the information from the client. They're so excited to do the booking that they go right into the vendors and start searching there when they actually have no idea what they're searching for. So let's go back to our research. And let's look for resorts in Oahu, because I believe the agent that needs this book, Ms. Hart, has clients that are coming to Hawaii on a cruise, but they're going to be on Oahu for 6 days. So you can find all types of information about resorts and hotels, because many people ask these questions on a regular basis. So you want to locate some that are going to be in an area that is easily accessible, and then you want to be aware of where they are, because how Oahu specifically is set up is the airport is a little ways away from Waikiki and a long way away from the North Shore. So you can ask which resorts are close to the Honolulu International Airport, and understand that the airport is not near a beach. Okay, and you can actually find that information out by asking Google, where are the beaches on Oahu? Resorts near beaches on Oahu. But make sure that you are specifically searching on one particular island so that you don't get too many results back. That can become overwhelming as well. 21 best resorts in Honolulu. Best beach resorts in Oahu. 10 best resorts in Oahu. You can actually get that information right on the internet. I think that's funny. The sandals have a resort in Hawaii. Absolutely not. Now, this is a question that is asked on a regular basis. Does Hawaii have all-inclusive resorts? No, we do not. Not on any of them. And you can actually Google that, but you have to make sure that you take time and go through the results, because people will read the first couple of things and not understand that your results are filtered by who pays to be on the first couple of pages on a Google search. Okay, keep that in mind. The answer to this is that Hawaii doesn't have a true all-inclusive resort like many in the Caribbean and Mexico. The closest resort to having an all-inclusive package is Travisa'a in Hana on Maui. That's a whole different island than what I'm on. They have what they call, and see the quotations, an inclusive package. So that means that some of the meals will be included, but it's not what we know to be an all-inclusive package, like all you can eat, all you can drink, and all non-motorized sports, okay? Make sure that you keep that in mind. And even if you can't remember that information, you can always come back and ask Google. So you first locate the resorts, and I'm going to keep this as an overview just to show you how to do it so that you can come back and do it for yourself. But you can also ask Google, what are the best activities to do on Oahu? Because keep it in mind, you want your clients to have an exceptional time. You don't want them to come here and have the typical tourist attraction type deal, because those lines are long all the time. We have loads of tourists that come here from Japan, from Australia, from New Zealand, from China, and of course from the United States. But this is a very heavily populated island in itself to begin with, and then we have lots of tourists that come too. So you want to give them something that's going to be a little different. So the top things to do in Oahu are to visit Diamond Head, which is right in Waikiki. Hanauma Bay. I have personally been to Hanauma Bay many times, and I like it because it is very scenic. It sits down inside of a crater. It's beautiful from the aerial view as well as right in front. It's got calm water, so you can take children, and you can actually take the city bus there. You can drive there, or you can take a shuttle that is offered, you know, the transportation service that you can sell. You can get there many, many ways. It's very affordable. Locals do go a lot, but it's pretty big, so it's kind of spaced out. But it is one thing that I would tell you to sell to your clients right away, because it's not something that they would naturally book for themselves, because it's not a popular thing. People don't hear about it a whole lot, but it is amazingly beautiful. Pearl Harbor, of course, people want to come and see Pearl Harbor, but make sure that when you are booking these tourist attractions, that you go into their personal websites and read what's happening. Oahu is constantly updating. Pearl Harbor has been closed for a while, so you couldn't take the actual ship. And Pearl Harbor has two different parts to it. You want to make sure that you educate yourself on the activities too. Pearl Harbor isn't just in one building, and it isn't just the part that's in the middle of the ocean. It's two different experiences. So there is a historic part of it where they can go into the museum and read everything and see everything. And then they can take a smaller boat, ferry, to go over to the USS Arizona Memorial. That was closed for a while. So make sure that you go into everything and look at it, because just because that portion was closed does not mean that they closed the entire thing, because they didn't. The museum part was still open, but the memorial was not. You have to go the extra mile for your clients to literally read everything. This is why I say give yourself 48 to 72 business hours, because doing research, you need to be as thorough as possible. Going to these different offerings for what to do in Oahu. And then, because this is a place that is expensive, this is one thing that is super, super important. Find them some free things to do besides going to the beach. There is a beautiful botanical garden that is free, that is in Kaneohe, that it actually has a little bit of historical value because it appeared in 2 of the Jurassic Park movies. So you can wow your clients by sending them to a free place. And going to Hanama Bay, not Hanama Bay, going to Kaneohe is a scenic route. So it is beautiful. You're on this long bridge, like the I-10 bridge going to Miami. If any of you guys are familiar with going from Miami to South Beach, that long bridge, there's a long bridge like that that takes you from the Honolulu Expressway over into Kaneohe. There is an air base there that is beautiful, and you'll be able to see it from the bridge, and it sits in the middle of the ocean. Your clients will actually take a trip through a mountain that is all green and lush. And keeping in mind, the visit to Kaneohe's botanical garden is free. Suggest that they do a picnic there. This is the botanical garden. The Hawaii State Art Museum is free. Waikiki has free fireworks every Friday at 7:45 p.m. Hula dancing happens in Waikiki on the beach pretty much all the time. They can visit the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific. Again, all of those things are free. Remember to look for those kind of things, especially if you know that your quote is going to be higher than the client is going to expect. And Hawaii is always a sticker shock type of quote. It almost always is. So you don't want to skim on the resort, because you literally get what you pay for in Hawaii. If you book them a cheap hotel, it will look like it. You also want to do a Google Earth search, because hotels and resorts that say beach or ocean view means that they can just see the ocean from where they are. It does not mean that they can walk out of the resort and walk onto the beach. So be really, really careful to physically see where your clients will be. And for those of you who wanted to know how to spell Kaneohe, it's right here. Now, Waianae, Ms. Hart, specifically for you, you want to keep your clients away from Waianae. that is a place that is specific to locals. Hawaiian locals have a very big respect for the land. So you'll find that the buildings are not necessarily up to date, but the land will be. They pride themselves on taking care of the land. Waianae is a very sacred area that is for locals. So you want to deter your clients from venturing off into places that you have not instructed them to go into. Haleiwa is where the North Shore is. I often suggest that my clients go and stay on the North Shore and experience the North Shore and then venture out to visit Waikiki instead of staying in Waikiki because it's overly populated. Haleiwa, on the other hand, is not. It is a smaller town. That's where people go to surf. The food trucks, the famous food trucks, are in Haleiwa on the North Shore. And it's a very scenic route where they pass by all of the pineapples that are growing in the pineapple plantation. Suggest that your clients get a convertible, because with the top down, and I'm a person that drives a convertible, your senses will experience the trip as well. The pineapple smells are so potent because they have not been diluted, they are not processed, and you can smell them, so much so that you can taste them in the back of your mouth. You want them to experience that. Suggest that they take a trip to the Dole Plantation, that they go through the museum and learn about how pineapples are grown. When I first made it to Hawaii, I thought that they grew from trees like coconuts. I did not know that they grew from the ground. And when I realized that they grew up from the ground, to see them, you would think that it's one per sprout, and it isn't. It's many on a pod. It's an amazing thing to see. And then to be able to really absorb the fact that millions of pineapples are grown on this island, and to be able to physically see that is something amazing to experience. And that is on the way to Haleiwa. We also grow coffee on Oahu. And after you pass by the plantation for the pineapples, you now can smell coffee. So when I say it's going to take their senses on a ride too, and I'm not even a person that drinks coffee, but smelling it is amazing. And to see that coffee grows from trees threw me for a complete loop. I didn't know that. I thought that they were Christmas trees because that's what they look like. I was so misinformed. I felt like my entire life was a lie. But being able to smell the coffee and to see the trees that they grow on, and you can actually pull over on the side of the road and see it for yourself and smell it for yourself and take pictures. And then there's also a historic Haleiwa sign that your clients can get out. It's on a safe side of the road. They can get out and take a picture to save it, to, kind of keep up with their travel. Again, the food trucks, we have Giovanni's famous food truck. You can find that on Google. That is something that has been talked about on TV. It has been highlighted on the Food Network. Food trucks and Oahu. And food trucks are a big thing in Hawaii. So you specifically want to look for food trucks on the North Shore. The beach is beautiful there. They can grab something to eat and literally drive up to the coast and eat on the shore. My husband and I do it all the time. 10 best food trucks in the North Shore, Oahu, Hawaii. There's Giovanni's shrimp truck right there. And then give your clients little tips for their trip to make it fun for them. Giovanni's actually allows everyone to sign the side of their truck. So have your client to sign their name on the truck and take a picture of it and send it to you. It makes it fun for them. There are quite a few different food trucks that are there on the North Shore, but Giovanni's is the most famous. Again, this is another thing that you can actually look up, but you want to give your client something to do. If your clients are a little worried about renting a car, which I always suggest that they rent a car, let them know that Hawaii's public transportation is 100% safe, and it runs on a dime, meaning if the bus says that it's going to be there at 1:10 p.m., it is there at 1:10 p.m. I was amazed when I first moved here. Public transportation can take you literally everywhere, to every beach, to every mall, to every museum that's happening here. And we do have an app that they can use for the bus. However, luggage is not allowed on the buses. So your client will need a transfer to get from the airport to their resort, as well as back from their resort to their hotel. If they are going to stay on the North Shore, they need a rental car. It's about 40 minutes away from the airport, but it is worth the ride. Of course, luau's are popular for Hawaii. You want to know which luau to send them to? You simply ask, which are the best luau's for Oahu? They tell you right here, the best and the worst. But make sure that you look in more than one place and compare the results that you see. Do not simply pick a cheap luau, because remember, in Hawaii, you get what you pay for. There will be pictures and videos online too. See where it says videos, images. Check those out for your clients. That's a part of your research, okay? So let's go back. Sorry, guys. To our slideshow. Now let's talk the nuts and bolts of booking. Now I know many of you have been in the company for a little while and you've done some booking, but we may have some brand new agents on the line, so we want to make sure that we cover the basics. And then you may find a better way to do your searches. So you want to use your resources to begin searching for your quotes and your bookings. Utilize the Travel Cafe. Use it. Don't just use VAX and Expedia Tap, because those are the two that you're familiar with. You will end up missing a good deal or another amenity. I recently did a group booking for a Charisma property in Mexico, the Seaside Suites in Mexico, and I was only searching on the Charisma website and in VAX. And Archer Travel had just done a Pleasant Holidays webinar. And I got on the webinar and said, let me compare the prices. Of course, I had looked in Apple Vacations. I checked Funjet Vacations. I checked United Vacations. I checked Southwest Vacations, everywhere in VAX that I knew that went to Mexico. I checked Vacations Express, but I had not checked Pleasant Holidays. Lo and behold, I went on to Pleasant Holidays website and found my reservation for $300 cheaper than what I had found it on every other website I looked. So do not hesitate to check the Travel Cafe and to search the different vendors. Do not limit yourself to one or two vendors because they seem to be easier for you or because you're used to them. Again, use your Google search, like what we just did. Take the Hawaii Specialist Training so you are familiar with the different areas. And check TripAdvisor reviews. Check more than one review. Read what the clients are saying and go over literally everything. Look at their pictures as well. Client pictures are the most accurate. Remember, pictures that are posted on the vendor websites, those are pictures that are staged. Doesn't mean that they are faked, but they are finished. It's like using Photoshop or a filter. Keep that in mind. Be prepared to compare pricing. Don't just jump at the first quote that you see. Take your time and compare amenities and expenses, as well as examine actual client photos. Okay, I'm going to show you how to use your resources, so we talked about going to your travel cafe. Log into your back office, click on the travel cafe. If you are not in the habit of using the travel cafe, change that quickly because you are missing out if you're not using it. All of the trainings that are happening literally on a daily basis are detailed in your back office. All of the pertinent information you need for booking, and most important, information on your suppliers are in your back office. Suppliers by destination. Many people ask on a daily basis, what vendor should I use for such and such? When we instruct you to come into the back office and look in the travel cafe, this is what we're talking about. The vendors are actually separated by the areas that they service. Here's Hawaii. Do not cheat yourself by just going into one of our Q&A groups and asking for somebody to give you a quick answer, because you may miss something else that you need. These are the vendors that service Hawaii. Some of them may already be in VAX, so make sure that you are registered with VAX and that you have a login. But the details for each vendor are here. Contact information, how to register, all of the details there, and all of the places that they service. They're all right there. Do not sell yourself short by just jumping at the first thing that you see. So just for the sake of this and for the sake of time, we'll check Pleasant Holidays and compare them with the vendor in VAX. One of the areas that Pleasant Holidays specializes in is Hawaii. And we do have a vendor in VAX that specializes in Hawaii too. Top vacations, Hawaii. And the reason why you want to click on these things is because you're learning at the same time. These travel deals change often. You want to see what the featured Hawaii travel deals are. Don't just jump on it because it's cheap or that you think that it's cheap. If you're going to check this deal out, make sure that you open up a different screen and go to Google Earth. You want to physically see what that property looks like. You want to see where it's located, what it is near, and everything else. Here, it actually tells you what to do in Hawaii. Gives you some details here. Make sure that you read all of that too. Your clients will need that information, and it'll make you look like a superstar. Remember I mentioned Hanauma Bay? There it is right there. They talk about it here. I talked to you about the smells. Like Hawaii is very interactive when it comes to the smells. They talk about it here. Even the air smells sweeter in Hawaii, infused with fragrant fields of pineapples and brightly colored plumera and hibiscus. You literally can smell the flowers and the pineapples. You really can, and the coffee. So let's check Moana Surfrider. This is one of the best resorts on Oahu. and it is truly ocean front, meaning you can walk out of the back of the resort and walk down into the ocean. Before you even put in your parameters, go and check the hotel description, look at the photos. This is truly what it looks like, and you see the ocean is behind it. The majority of the hotels and resorts in Waikiki are on the opposite side of the street. This one sits on the same side of the street with the ocean, but if you look at it, this is the front of the building. The front faces the street. The back of the building faces the ocean. This is where the Founders Council did a retreat. I believe that was earlier this year. But it is not even ocean front because this is the front of the building. So you want to look at the photos to see exactly what your clients will see. Now, the good thing about it is this has not been like Photoshop. This is really what it looks like. You can walk out of the building and into the water. That is the famous Diamond Head. There are literally 4 hotels that sit oceanfront. This is the pool that's in, well, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's not oceanfront, but it sits on the ocean. The front of it sits on the street. This is in the back. The resort truly looks like this. It is beautiful, and they have multiple towers. So your client can have different experiences. It's called the Moana Surfrider. It's a Westin hotel. The hotel amenities will be listed. Again, read this information before you even do the quote. It's on Waikiki, across the street from the International Marketplace. It's approximately 35 minutes from the Honolulu airport. That does not include Honolulu traffic. Traffic here is horrendous. Hotel activities, make sure you read this so that you are providing the experience that your client asks for. Check the room amenities. Do not offer your client something or agree to something that you cannot deliver. Literally read everything. You put in your parameters and bring up the quote. So let's do hotel flight. Let's do hotel and flight. Leaving from DTW, which is Detroit, going to HNL, which is Honolulu. And if you do not know the airport codes, simply ask Google. What is the airport code for Oahu? What is the airport code for Detroit? So let's look for travel in March. Well, actually, let's give it a little further ahead so that we can see how much it would be with the deposit, because many times people will ask, how much will this be? Can I pay it on a payment plan? What can I do? All right, so you want to give them some options. Let's look for August of 2020. And let's give them from the 3rd to the 7th, 1 room, 2 adults, 2 children. First child is 2, second child is 7, okay? And then we do our search. At any time, if you feel uncomfortable with the search, stop what you're doing and actually call their experts. Yes, you will still receive your commission if you get help from the vendors. And if in doubt, ask them, will I still get my commission? No question is a stupid question. It's only stupid if you choose not to ask it. Remember, this is how you pay yourself. So you want to know as much as you possibly can. You allow the system to do the work, or you call and get some help from their travel experts. I've had really good experiences with Pleasant Holidays. I've had really good experiences with many, many of our vendors. So give them a chance to help you. That's what they get paid for. So here's the quote from Moana Surfrider. They actually put Moana on the top, and then they give you some options: the Outrigger, Waikiki Beach, the Hilton Hawaiian Village, Aulani. Now, the Aulani is the Disney vacation Club. It is on the other side of the island, so be really careful to read everything. This is not in Waikiki. They are just giving you different options. This is why reading is so important, because you see they slid it in the rest of the options for Waikiki. Turtle Bay, this is on the North Shore that we talked about earlier. They give you some other options, so don't just zip through and start clicking. Make sure that you read everything. Yes, give your client some options, but you go through these and you see what is going to meet what they've asked for. Remember to do a Google Earth search, because some of the information may be a little misleading. Now, this is the Waikiki Beach Marriott Resort and Spa. Just to see this, you would think that this sits on the ocean front, right? It's a little misleading. This is the building that is the Marriott. This is the ocean. It's literally across the street. It faces the ocean. So you will get hotel rooms that are labeled Ocean View. This is why using Google Earth specifically with Hawaii is paramount. You want to make sure that they are aware of what they're getting. Do not be misled by the pictures. This picture is set up to look like it looks on purpose. The hotel is across the street. Now you can literally walk across the street, walk past this and walk right into the ocean, but it is still across the street, and across a street that has traffic. Be careful of how you book, okay? It's a beautiful hotel, but it literally sits across the street. And this is what the ocean view would look like. See, resort ocean view. See the street? See, the ocean is across the street. And doing a Google search, a Google Earth search, will show you just that. Down here is where the Moana Surf Rider is. It's on the side of the street with the ocean. The Hawaiian Hilton Village is on this side of the street too, and the Outrigger is on this side of the street too, on the ocean side. But the Marriott, which we've actually stayed in when the Elite Eight first visited Hawaii, they talk about Promotion Island, and they came in February of 2016. They actually stayed in the resort that we're talking about right now, the Waikiki Beach Marriott Resort and Spa, and we walked across the street. So it's a very short walk. You walk right across here, but it's still across the street nonetheless. You want to make sure that you are communicating properly with your clients. So let's say they truly want something that is beachfront. We're going to select this package for the Moana Surf Rider. Be really careful not to brand yourself as the cheap trip booker. You are selling value, the value of your service and the value of the vacation. You are selling them an experience. Trust me, when they see this price, they are going to have sticker shock unless they've been to Hawaii before. People are used to paying this amount of money for a 7-night Caribbean trip. Hawaii is not like that. It's a totally different experience. Also check the flights. We know nonstop air tends to be a little more pricey, but read it so that you know what that means and not be misled. Some clients will ask for a nonstop flight. This is only nonstop from Detroit to Seattle. It's not nonstop from Detroit to Oahu. Read everything. When it says total duration, 11 hours, that includes any layover time. Read everything. It is up to you to educate your clients. Hawaii is another place that has a different time zone. I am 5 hours behind Eastern Standard Time for this time of the year. After the spring, when you guys spring forward, we will be 6 hours behind. So communicating that to a client is paramount. When they are returning from Hawaii, you actually lose a day in transit. See, it says plus a day. So you need to communicate that they will leave Hawaii on the 7th, but actually arrive in Detroit on the 8th. Communicate that to them. That is your responsibility. For the sake of time, we're going to leave everything as is. We're going to choose the tower. We're not going to rent a car for Waikiki because they really don't need it. Everything is in walking distance in Waikiki. I have found personally, from my own personal experience, when I am quoting, I usually communicate the price per person. It seems to have a different effect on a person versus you telling them, oh, well, the cost is $4,905. It hits their ears and their eyes differently if you tell them the cost is $1,226.25 per person. Somehow it just hits them differently. We're not looking for a car, so you want to make sure that they have transportation to and from the hotel. Let's do a shared transfer to and from, $25.50 per person. And because Hawaii is about the experience, you want to give them a fresh lei greeting. Even if they did not ask for it, include it in their quote. Let them tell you that they don't want it. You're creating an experience for them, okay? Many of the vendors have some excursions pre-populated for you. Read them. Arizona, Pearl Harbor City. This is one of their tours. Read this. They actually have more attractions and activities. Make sure that you read them. The total cost will be $5,201 and no cents. So I know a lot of you are like, whoa, that's expensive. That's exactly how your clients are going to see it. And remember, most airlines charge for the bags. The only one that doesn't is Southwest. Yes, Southwest comes to Hawaii, but not from all origins. Again, you may want to quote them the per person cost. You can actually click this and make a quote and send the quote to your client instead of copying and pasting and doing all of that. You can send a quote directly to your client, but you want to take this and then compare it with another vendor. Of course, everyone's go-to is VAX, right? So let's check VAX really quickly. I want you guys to get the visual of what it looks like. If you do not have your password saved on your computer, you're doing yourself a disservice. Save your passwords on all of your devices because it just saves you time. Now, again, for the sake of time, I am going to go with what I know. So I don't want to keep you guys too long. But I'm going to go to Blue Sky Tours because from experience, I know that they specialize in Hawaii. Detroit is already populated for me. All right, and the dates that we used. Let me go a little further because I do not remember the dates that we use. I'm sorry, guys. Uh-oh. Oh, always offer travel insurance. Let your clients tell you that they don't want it and then have them to sign a waiver if they say that they don't. But always include the travel insurance. Keep in mind that it is your responsibility to educate your clients. Many clients think that they can just change the trip when they want to. They cannot, not for free. And you happen to know this, right? The 3rd through the 7th, those are our dates. Let them tell you that they do not want the insurance, and then you have them to sign a waiver. That way, if anything happens and they're not happy, your butt is covered. Okay, we are booking for August the 3rd through August the 7th of 2020. We have 2 adults and 2 children. I believe we said that their ages were 2 and 7, right? We're going to add the travel protection and do our search. I'm hoping you guys are seeing it is a little time consuming, but it is worth it because you're giving yourself firsthand knowledge. And the more you do this, the faster this will go. Now, I'm taking it slow so that I don't lose you guys, but I can actually zip through this in about 10 minutes. And that's only because I've been doing this for quite some time. So I know exactly where to go, what to look for. That comes from doing it over and over and over again. Don't sell yourself short by zipping through it. This is what I mean about checking pricing. Now, the first in VAX is going to show you what VAX says is preferred. So the very first resort that came up is Aulani. So we are looking at the Moana Surfrider. Use your filters to get through the time faster. Work smart. Moana Surfrider. Look at that. Moana more. So here's the Moana Surfrider. We chose the Tower City in the other booking. We're going to select that. And we're going to compare apples to apples. Make sure that you are comparing apples to apples so that you're not overworking yourself. The other flights were Alaskan Airlines flights. The Delta flights will be a little more. Now, unless they specifically ask you for certain airlines, because many of them have frequent flyer program memberships, unless they ask you for a specific airline, you go with what is most cost efficient. Now, cost efficient is not cheap. Cost efficient is just that. The trip insurance is already included here. Blue Sky Advantage is here. If you don't know what it is, click it and read it. And if you're looking for features, VAX will populate some for you. Sail and snorkel, OHAU Circle Island Adventure. That means that it actually circles the island and takes you all the way down. We talked about the Dole Plantation. It stops at the Dole Plantation, the North Shore, Waimea Valley, which is a beautiful beach that is never overcrowded. The Poly Lookout, that is beautiful. It's got a blowhole there. And some of Oahu's famous windward beaches, which are on the other side of the island. They're not in Waikiki. They definitely want to do something like this tour. If you schedule them for this, they won't even need to rent a car because this includes the transportation. These are not the only features though. This is just the showcase features. If you want to see more features in VAX, click on features. It opens up everything that VAX is offering. So remember we added the lay greeting, the fresh lay greeting. You want to look for that here too. Use your filters, it'll save you some time. There are the lay greetings right there. We did a standard lay greeting. Let's add it to the cart. And now we are comparing apples to apples. So your vacation will cost $5,421.36, or $1,355.34 per person. Finally, make sure that you check how much you're going to get paid. Remember, this is how you pay yourself. So check to see. Do not increase your commission unless it makes fiscal sense. Don't commission yourself out of a sale, because most clients actually go into websites and they double check the prices. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. People will always say, well, why should they book with me when they can find their prices online and they're cheaper? Why are the prices that the client finds online cheaper? Because the prices that they find do not have your commission in it. That's number one. Your commission is built in, so yours may be a little more costly than what they see online. Now, this is where you sell your service. When they ask you why should they book with you, you tell them, because I'm going to offer you a service. I'm going to be your personal travel agent. From the time that we're planning this, I'm doing all the planning for you. I'm going to walk you through your electronic documents when we get them. I'm going to make sure that you understand everything and remain available for you from this time until you return home from your trip. I literally give you a worry-free vacation. If anything goes wrong, you contact me. I'll handle it for you. That is worth $306.14. It absolutely is. That service is worth more than that. Remember to sell your service, okay? You're offering a service. So you want to compare the two, compare what the client is getting, compare apples to apples, and then make your decision from there. Okay? Again, take your time and compare amenities and experiences, as well as examine the actual client photos. Go on TripAdvisor and look at the client photos, because remember, those are not staged. So just to recap, use your resources to begin your searching for quotes and booking. The Travel Cafe, do your Google searches, take the Hawaii Specialist training, check the TripAdvisor reviews and actually read them. TripAdvisor also includes photos from the clients who have taken these trips and stayed at these hotels and taken these tours. Look at the pictures, read about their experiences. Be prepared to compare the pricing. Do not just jump at the first quote you see. Take your time and compare the amenities and experiences, as well as examine the actual client photos. Again, be prepared to compare pricing. Compare the commission payout. Know that you can possibly price match. Pleasant Holidays, price matches. Apple Vacation, price matches. FunJet, price matches. You can actually take something that you find on FunJet or Apple Vacation or Blue Sky Tour and take it over to Pleasant Holidays and have them to price match it. But again, it's got to be apples to apples. They can price match for you. Understand that to give your client the most pleasurable experience, you must approach this task as if you are booking for the most important person in your life. Book like you are booking for yourself, and you can never go wrong. Take that amount of care for every single booking. You are not only going to establish a trusting relationship between you and your client, because they're going to spend thousands of dollars with you. A good 80% of my client base, I have not met in person. I only met them on the internet, and most of them were referrals. Build a rapport with them by taking care of them. Educate your clients. That is your responsibility. Let the client know what a realistic budget is. If a client is asking you to go to Hawaii and they want to stay in an all-inclusive resort and they want to go for $1,000 for 2 people, you already know off the top that that is unrealistic for a few reasons. And you know that they are not experienced in traveling in that area because they've mentioned some things that you know that are unrealistic. There are no all-inclusive resorts in Hawaii. So if they don't know that, then they definitely don't know what to expect to pay to go, right? So it's up to you. Don't get aggravated instantly because they lowball you. It's your responsibility to respectfully educate your client. Tactfully communicate with them and let them know that's not really a realistic budget for what you're asking for. But what I will do is give you the most fiscally responsible, and watch your wording, fiscally responsible. That means that you're going to give them the quote that's closest to the amount that they ask. If they ask for a $1,000 quote, do not give them a $6,000 quote. Simply tell them, I couldn't get it for less than $5,000. Are you interested to see what I have to offer? That saves you time. Don't just shoot them things that they're not interested in. If they're expecting $1,000, that's what they want to see. But if it's not realistic, tell them before you send them some information. Communicate with them. Let the client know what the high and low seasons are. Again, check on Google. Google will tell you just that. What is high season in Hawaii? What is low season? And remember, Hawaii is either expensive or more expensive. Be realistic and tactful when communicating with your client. Even if you feel a certain kind of way, wait until your mood is better to respond to them. You want to build your client base. How to communicate. Offer personalized service to your clients. Communicate live as much as possible. I am a mass texter. I despise talking on the phone, but I will call my client because it gives them a sense of security to hear your live voice versus texting, versus inboxing on Facebook or DMing on Instagram. Speak live to your client as much as possible. Then send a follow-up email to confirm what you have spoken about live. Stay away from texting. This is a business. Treat it like one. I text my girlfriends. I text business partners to answer your questions quickly, but I do not text my clients. I call them. Even if they text me with an issue, I call them. Keep a copy of everything for yourself. Make it a point to provide great customer service. Treat them how you want to be treated. Remain available from the time your client books their trip until they return from your trip. Notice, I did not say from the time they ask you about the trip. They are a prospective client in the beginning. But once they become your client and they have paid you for a trip, it is your responsibility to remain available. They should not have to sit in the airport panicking, sending you text messages and hoping that you respond to them. No, you need to make concessions and be available to them. Many of us are avid travelers. I travel often, but I let my clients know if they are on a trip. When I'm on one, I tell them when I'm going to be in the air. I will be unavailable for calls between this time and this time. I will be available after this time. I will return your call or your message as soon as I'm on the ground. And once I hit the ground, I text them or call them to say, I made it, just to let them know I'm available for them. But do not conduct business in text messaging. I have read about horrible things that have happened that could have been prevented if the agent would have just picked up the phone and called the client. Many clients will skim through the electronic documents, they will skim through the quotes that you send them, and they will miss pertinent information that they need. It is your responsibility to talk to them on the phone, and if you have to read word for word through the quote or word for word through the confirmation, do so that they understand. Okay? Now remember, booking a vacation with a travel agent should be painless, pleasurable, and informative. Let those be the bedrock of your business. Talk your client through the booking and through the confirmation. Make this a pleasurable experience for them. Take away the hard work for them. You put that on your shoulders so that they don't have to do anything but show up and have a good time. And make sure that you teach them something about the area that they're going into. Send them some information when they get ready to go on their trip so they'll know something to do that you have not planned for them. And give them safety tips as well, down to the detail about when they can book their seats, when they should check in, how much their bags will cost. It is your responsibility to educate your client. Okay, so I'm hoping that this was helpful for you guys. But what I'd like to do from this point is to take some questions for maybe like the next 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. The line is open. Let me stop the share and the recording.